Hey everyone, welcome back to Full Kit No Plan. We got a great episode tonight. It's me, Jesse. Got Aldo here,
What's
and
up? What's up?
yeah, what's up, my man? How you doing?
All right, all right. Take it from the top, brother.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. We were before we came on, we were talking a little bit about all kinds of different things. We had touched on TikTok, and you wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. I wanted to say, early on in the year, I had a challenge by you to jump on TikTok, and for years I was just like, that's a fad, that's a little kids thing. And to a certain degree, I still think that, while I don't believe it no longer, if that makes sense. Um, And last week I was talking to someone else too, who's social media marketing, videographer, producer, the whole nine, and he kind of got on my butt too, as well as not utilizing TikTok. I guess TikTok, and again I say I guess because I'm freaking new to that platform, and social media is overwhelming. I just, while it may seem that I know about social media, I have no fucking clue. I barely use Instagram, and you'll see me on Facebook because I'll do the double like share. But I'm a Neanderthal when it comes to like, technology, social media, all that stuff. I'm just trying things out, and that's why I wanted to discuss it, because sometimes we don't know that there's someone behind that screen that may need what we have. They may need what we know. May need to hear about how we do things, or maybe may need to feel like they're not alone. Like me. Like shoot, like I'm dead serious. There's times where I'm just sitting here talking to you, and you make things so easy. Like you right now trying to walk me through this graphics card, or what
Capture
was that?
card, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Capture card. Okay, not to get too crazy, but my point is, a lot of us don't know a lot of stuff, and that was like second nature to Jesse, like using TikTok. And I want to go out there and say, guys, fellas, ladies, let's utilize these tools. They're freaking tools, and we got to figure out how to use them. If we don't know, let's rely on the people that do know. Like Jesse, what's up? Tell me about TikTok, bro, because it is a thing. It's growing. It's not new, but it's new to people like myself.
Yeah, and dude, I mean, look, I'm a veteran of the GWAT. Like, I'm not this big tech savvy person either. I just play around with it a little bit, and I, I actually, I look at my kids, dude. Like, they're constantly on TikTok. When they have their phones, it's like they're just scrolling, and like you see where the attention's going. You see that this next generation is going to grow up, and all they do is look at TikTok. Like they don't Google, bro. They don't. My 11-year-old doesn't even know how to Google. I mean, he does, but it's not. It's not like we do. Like when we were back in the day, it was like you use keywords and this is how you search Google, and it's a specific way of typing to look for something. And now these kids get on TikTok and they just type in exactly what they're looking for and it comes up, dude. I mean, you have this platform that is it started originally, it started out as Musically, like a kids, a kids dancing app, and then it was acquired, and the algorithm was tweaked for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and now they're really going after Amazon market share and Google market share. Like they're pushing to be a complete search engine and to be the entire marketplace all in one. Um, and if you want my opinion, their algorithm is light years above where ours is. I mean, it's not even a comparison. When you look at like last year and this build up to the TikTok ban, like that really wasn't because and all the politicians and everyone were saying all these crazy things like, oh well, we need the TikTok ban because it's Chinese spyware and all this stuff. And it's like all the social media apps are spyware, like Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. You're not giving TikTok anything more than you're giving those other companies. They're just in America. The algorithms are run by the American, uh tech industry, and that's really what they wanted, was the algorithm. They wanted the data.
So, talking about TikTok, right? So I bring that up. Thanks for the explanation. Thanks for like helping a brother out. A lot of us, maybe it could be that I got hit upside the head so many times. But in all realness, we have to be true to ourselves, and we know what we don't know, and we should know what we don't know, right? And be able to reach out for help, assistance, support. So, guys, don't be shy. Gals, don't be shy. That's what this YouTube channel is all about. And even if you're not watching and subscribing, or you don't feel like reaching out, make sure that you reach out to anybody that you know, whether it's a veteran or not. But the point is, Jesse has schooled me, he's educated me, and what he knows, right, about the platforms and how we can do so much with it. And I bring that up from my sense, right, from the business sense, of how we can monetize that, right? Because social media is not just for posting; it's your free storefront. It's like it, things have changed so much, and now we have stuff. We got this power right here. It's insane what we can do with it, right? I remember years ago, people would ask me questions, and to your point, bringing up Google, I would be like, Google it. Why you ask? Google it. I'm gonna Google it. I'm right here as I stand next to you. So my point is, if you don't know, don't hold yourself back. Figure it out. TikTok it now. I guess that's the thing. Um, because there are ways to monetize what you know. You might be an AC, you might be a plumber, you might be in business, you might be in gardening, you might be in fishing, wildlife, you might be a teacher that's looking to really truly teach and not just push an agenda. Um, Different conversation. But the point is, utilize the tools and resources. That was one thing that we got drilled. Drill, drill, drill. Utilize your tools and resources, right? So, how can you do that? You got to attract, you got to engage, you got to offer. You first attract the right audience by posting content. Hey, it doesn't have to be nice. Just put yourself out there. Hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm going in and I'm gonna go work out today because X, Y, and Z. Or today I'm gonna hit the boat and we're gonna go catch some crawfish. I don't freaking know if you catch crawfish in a boat. I don't know. I'm just saying. The point is, what if I come across your content and I'm like, shoot, you know what? I want to be out there. I wouldn't mind taking my family to go hang out. What does that cost? And it could be you that I pay, to take me on a boat so I can go catch some crawfish if that's even a thing. Point is, you put yourself out there. Now you're solving people's problems. You're giving people experience. You're teaching people, and you're getting your brand out there. Whether you want to believe it or not, Nike, Adidas, and we're not getting paid for these things. I'm just saying they're a big brand, right? And they got a lot of money invested, and even to the color, even to where they position, what they position, and what they sell their products, right? But if you're in business or you're looking to get in business, you're looking to be an entrepreneur and get out there, no one's going to know about you if you don't utilize these resources and these tools. So I'm venturing into TikTok now, thanks to my boy here, Jesse, challenging me to figure it out. So, I'm a little slow. I've been posting once, maybe twice a month, but I'm looking to get more engaged. And it's not for nothing other than I'm looking to create some residual income, some passive income, and we're not talking about hundreds of thousands, but can you offset some groceries? I mean, $300-$500 a month, a gas. I mean, whatever it is. Why are you sitting there not taking advantage of it? So that's why I want to talk about it, because again, it wasn't until I have these conversations with people that know more than me in certain areas, and I'm just like, boom, I had these ideas. Now I know what to do with it, or at least now I know how to start it, how to begin it, and it all takes that first step. Guys, we talked about this, right? We receive the mission and then we go execute it. So, you know what I'm saying? And if it's not for you, you want to be a scroller, you want to be a watcher, that's fine. Enjoy it, but you can produce or you can consume. It's all up to you. And I'm just saying, let's go make it happen, Captain.
Yeah, definitely, dude. I I do. I watch your content and I'm like, man, it flows so naturally and free. I mean, as someone, look, I'm pushing 40 at this point. I've done a few things. I've gone to war, but when it comes to putting myself on camera and post into like, you know, Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or any of these, like with me just talking, sometimes I freeze up, dude, and talking about things that we know we're good at, like from my perspective, it doesn't look like that happens to you. So, and maybe it does, I'm not trying to put a bunch of weight on you. It just, your content comes off really good. So I'm curious, like, one, do you run into those types of problems where you don't want to put yourself on camera, or it could be scary or fearful or anxiety ridden, are some of the things that I can think of. How do
Well,
you overcome that?
you ask really good questions, bro, and I really like that. When we have guests on here, when you ask those questions, I feel like I'm on the spot. But no, but the reality is, right? It's it's just knowing yourself, knowing what you're good at. Because you're not gonna go out there and sell something you're not, if it's a product, right? You gotta know what the product is, what it does, and how it can help people, how it can solve someone's problems. Same thing with your service, right? If you sell a service, same thing. You gotta know what your service is. You gotta solve people's problems, and because again, science behind sales is all emotions, right? But you got to know yourself and just be confident in yourself and just go out there and do it, right? So clarify your vision. I know based on my life, based on what the struggles I've had, what I've had to overcome, and how I want to make sure that other people don't have to deal with that. How can I solve other people's issues, or not solve them? Let me take that back. But how can I remove other people roadblocks for other people so that they don't have to, or when they come across some certain issues, they have an idea, they have an opportunity to kind of reflect, or hey, be like, hey, you know what? I ran across this, I heard this from so and so, because we're all intelligent human beings. Sometimes it just takes knowing, because when you don't know, you don't know, right? I always say, if you let me in the door, then that's me gaining some kind of information, some kind of education. And if you're a person that's constantly willing to learn, willing to adapt, willing to grow, you're not stuck in the grind, which is this is the whole point of this podcast, right? Success. Um, you're gonna find it, right? So be clear with yourself. Do I know what I'm talking about? And it starts with, do I know myself? So yeah, I mean, I've been through the grind. I've done a lot of stuff like yourself. Been through some deployments, but ultimately, what am I made of? Uh, I'm not a survivor, man. I make things happen. I'm a victor. I create things. I'm a creator. I'm a builder. I built with my hands. I tore down with my hands, and ultimately, I just know that I want to do good. So I speak on that, and that's what I do.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, as someone who does suffer from being camera shy every now and then, um, it's good to hear that type of stuff. Like what it is we can actually do. Because you hear that shit all the time, right? It's like, oh, you just got to do this, and just post the content, and it doesn't matter what it is, and it can be anything. And it's like, yeah, no, that's cool. But like, what about the people that just don't want to be on camera, and how can we utilize these platforms to still produce an income, or at least offset some of the expenses, when we're not wanting to be have our face on camera, right?
So it's one of those things, right? Again, it's a tool, and it's how you utilize the tool, right? You can get a knife and like turn it upside down and like, try to cut it. It's not going to cut well. Or you can turn it around and hold it from the wrong end, right? It's on you knowing how to utilize the tool to its best capacity. And I say that because, like, okay, I'm going to bring in like a social media site that I have nothing to do with them. I don't know who they are or nothing, but I utilize them as a source of information, as a source of education to a certain degree, right? With exercising discernment, exercising some kind of, research, right? But it's called PLR Hustle. And what I like about them is that they help people monetize faceless. They put programs together so that you can get into the system, be part of the system, and monetize faceless. So if you don't want to be on camera, there you go. Canva is another great tool. You can create all sorts of services using the Canva app. And now you can go ahead and you piggyback off of like all these Amazon and all sorts of things, and then just resell without having to hold any product, right? But it takes time. It takes knowing how to understand how to utilize these tools. So there are tools and free educational resources online, even on these platforms we're discussing, TikTok, uh, X. I haven't used it. That's what it used. That's Elon Musk thing, right?
Yeah, X, formerly Twitter.
Twitter. There you go. Right. So, Instagram, Facebook. Like, there's so many ways to utilize social media to your advantage. It's just like anything else, though. You can, again, I go back to, you could be a producer, you could be a consumer, right? So, what do you want to do? But yeah, I mean, PLR Hustle. That's just one that I frequently run across, where they put basically like step by step how to run your own site, create content without your face, without your body. I mean, in some cases, you don't even have to get behind a microphone and do any audio. So there's ways to do things, but it's like anything else, right? You gotta put up or shut up. You gotta make it happen.
Yeah, yeah. So you said a couple things. You said monetize. Like how I'm guessing it goes something like you build the following and then you're able to turn that following into something that's going to make money. Correct?
Yeah. So you want to attract, you want to engage, and then you want to offer,
Yeah. So
right?
how
So
so what are the things that we're looking to offer once we have started to gain the attention? Because that's what we're talking about, right? Like ultimately is gaining attention and directing that attention into a different flow, a different, sales page or capture page or some type of way to keep that attention rolling down the sales pipeline.
you want to solve people's problems in some way, shape, or form. You want to solve people's problems, whether that's a new pair of shoes, whether that's fixing or repairing a wall, some sheetrock, whether that's refacing their exterior home, whatever the case may be. Maybe they're collectors of crocheted bags. I don't know, you know, but you know what you're good at again, right? So it's creating that niche or finding that niche. But ultimately you want to be able to solve someone's problems. And then secondly, again, you want to engage. You want to engage. So you want to reply to comments, you want to go live, you want to build trust, however that is. But the key core um message here is solving people's problems. I do it personally for me. I speak on overcoming challenges, right? And seeing them as opportunities, reframing your mindset, exercise, so that's what I know because I had to overcome a lot of that internal fear, you know, not lack of willingness to be vulnerable, not just on camera, but just in general. So that's what I speak on. That's what that's what I had to overcome. I learned that from others. That's how I started following other coaches and other mentors, and I read books and because that's what I was searching, how to get over my fears, how to overcome my fears, how to see things differently so that I wouldn't be holding myself back. Because I know I could do things physically with my hands. I'm capable to go do things out there, but I wasn't capable of speaking. I wasn't capable of putting myself on camera, so I started searching for those things.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And you said gatekeeping at some point early on. And in the interest of not gatekeeping, there's a great book by Gary Vee called Day Trading Attention. And anyone that wants to get into this type of stuff, I would highly recommend reading that book. It is worth every penny, for sure. For sure. Day Trading Attention by Gary Vaynerchuk.
There you go. And that's another
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
right? Educating ourselves, whatever that is. I mean, this is another source. Say you're gonna be a car mechanic. You're gonna have to go, learn how to do that. You're gonna be an engineer. You're gonna have to go learn that, right? It doesn't matter when you're gonna start a new career or restart your life. Um, you're gonna have to learn something, right? So if if you're hanging out and you're okay living off 100% disability and you're okay in a sense where you know you can have some time to yourself and you want to make some passive income, shoot, even promoting yourself, helping other veterans, like market that, brand that. That's you. You're a helper. You're a giver. Whether you're male, female. And um, it just goes a long way. Just sometimes, just we record, we take pictures of a lot of stuff, and if you don't, then obviously you're not in that realm, and it makes sense, and it's okay, right? But if you do, and you're already taking pictures and videos, like, and you're posting random stuff, not just imagine structuring that and strategizing that.
Yeah. Yeah. All geared towards, like you were saying, garnering attention, right? Just stopping, getting people to stop stopping the scroll, the hooks and things like that. That'll be able to actually move past that first 0.2, 0.3 seconds, and actually get someone to listen to you.
And let me say, sometimes we think that we need like thousands of followers, millions of followers. Like, you don't. If you got 100 solid followers and you can create a really good solid program on how people, you know, overcome a fear or strategically position their new business, into a new market share opportunity, whatever that may be. Understanding if you're out in the wildlife and you're in hunting or whatever that case, like, hey, when's the peak season for this? how can you tell that, what I'm saying? Like, as people are getting into that, like, how can you put something together to help somebody there? Um, it's just it just it really goes a long way understanding that, um, there's somebody for everybody. Really, there's somebody for everybody. Um, and as far as gatekeeping and those kind of things, those are yesterday's news. Like when we used to think that, hey, it's my information, it's for me to keep. Only I can hold on to this because I don't want no one else to know. That was maybe the case, when social media wasn't so well, I mean, what it is today, but today everything's out there. You think you thought of
Yeah.
an idea, you didn't think about the idea, you know. I heard this story about Michael Jackson waking up at 2 in the morning, going to the studio to record Thriller, and he had to do it right then and there because he said, "Well, what if Prince wakes up at 7 a.m. and he gets the same idea? God gave him that idea. Now I'm late, so I got to record it right
Yeah.
now." So it's about action and taking action, guys. Like, that's what it is. Sometimes we sit down, we think, "Oh, tomorrow." Well, I mean, tomorrow may never come. So, live today, and even if it's not social media, um, whatever that case may be, go for it. But yeah, I just wanted to speak on that because I didn't know I can do what I do. Like now, I run ad campaigns on some of my content, and you set a budget and it hits so much a day, and then I get customers, and it's worth the ROI. It truly is, right? So it's working out for me, and I'm gonna be honest, a year ago I didn't think that was the case, and that was I would say even less than a year ago. So, and I'm not good at what I do. So if you're good at being on camera, shoot, just think about it. Or you're creative, just think about what you can do.
Yeah, definitely. It's all in, like you said, becoming, you know, comfortable and understanding who you are and being able to express that to the rest of the world. And once you feel comfortable in your own skin, being able to show up as your authentic self, and that's really where the magic happens. That's really where, the rubber meets the road, and we can make these positive and real lasting impacts on people. Yeah.
Absolutely. And back to what I was saying, because I got a little sidetracked, getting hit upside the head. But you don't need a ton of freaking followers. You don't. You get 100 followers that are loyal, you create something, you can make some passive income. I mean, you don't have to charge people a ton of money for what you know. Ultimately, if you're doing things, out of the love of your heart and you're grateful every day, you're going to be taken care of. So $5, $10 subscriptions, whatever you see that might be the value of what you're producing or what you're offering. I mean, you could do simple math. Shoot, I'll say my goal one day is to have 5,000 subscribers in 1 month, hit $83 a month. In 1 month, all I need is 1 month, and that's over $1 million. So that's my goal. That's what I'm looking for. You know, but ultimately, 1,000 subscribers. Um, to my work, and at $50 a month. I mean, you do the math, and it doesn't take long if you structure it clearly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I appreciate that. I appreciate you sharing, your insights on this. Because, like I said, I mean, I've seen what you've done over the last 6 months to a year, dude, and it's been an amazing journey to watch. I really do. I appreciate you sharing that knowledge with us.
Hey, but I do want to talk. We were discussing earlier what's going on right now, current affairs. I rely on my boy Jesse here to bring us up to speed every now and then, because he is CNN, ABC, Fox News, the whole nine here at Full Kit, no plan.
I am none of those things ever. That is all fake news, all of it. Um, no, I've just been keeping an eye on what's going on. You see, Iran and Israel are duking it out right now. The president kind of doesn't really know what's going to go on. Netanyahu's kind of just doing whatever he wants to, and the threat of nuclear war is knocking at the door right now, bro, and it's fucking scary when you think about it. On top of that, you have protests that went on over the weekend for the No King protests. I don't know. Did you hear anything about that?
Okay, I have to admit, I need some education. What is No King? Who is No King?
So it was a protest that was organized and sent across the entire country, dude. And it's basically saying no king. It's like we don't want a king here in America. Donald Trump being the king. We don't want him to become a dictator to become a king. And
Ah,
so yeah, so there's this no king protest that goes on all weekend long. Um, Specifically on Saturday, which is the same day that the president throws a military parade for his birthday. Like it's, like, it's wild, bro. It's wild. And then
Winkadink.
yeah, and then I don't know if you or any of the people watching this have seen some of the videos, but dude, they're marching in that parade and they are all jacked up, bro. Like no one's marching in step. They're all looking around. No one's like you go eyes left or eyes right, and like some are kind of doing it, the others are looking this way, others are off the other. It looks all jacked up, bro. And
From a
he's just
veteran's
like
lens.
yeah, and it's just it to me it's a clear indication that they're not happy to be there, right? Because I mean, think about it, dude. This is our community, like this is where we come from. And you know how to march. It's not something you forget. It's not something that you stop doing. Like even after you come back from war, like they still make you go out and march around, bro. Like it's ingrained in us. So for these guys to show up at the military parade in Washington that the president put on for himself, and then to be all out of step, like it's a clear fuck you. It's a clear fuck you to the administration, in my opinion. Yeah, and so that's kind of the shit that's been going on, dude. Just I mean, it's 2025, man. The world is a stage, and anything can happen.
Talking about the world being on stage, right? I've seen some videos. I have come across some videos. I don't watch TV. For people out there, I don't watch TV. I may come across a good ball game at the gym. So I'll probably watch a good, yeah, I'll probably splurge there and watch a whole minute and a half. But when I do post, sometimes I'll go in there and I'll scroll real quick. I try to limit it. I probably do like 10 minutes a day tops. But I seen these ICE raids, right? And these agents walking around, no badge, no like, covered faces, mask or whatever. Like that's something. And so then I go and I follow up and I try to do some reading, right? And they're um, the reports are saying that it's because they're protecting their life. So the people are putting up where they're staying at so that protesters go and create mayhem and havoc at wherever they're at. But it's a double-edged sword, man. I don't know. I'm just following it. I don't go one way or another. I mean, it is what it is, and um, I try not to get into politics, right? Because that's exactly what it is, just politics, right? So it's unfortunate a lot of people are having to deal with real life impacts and changes and to theirs. But um you know um education education is money. Education is 100. So even understanding how to um have a conversation or how to respond when being approached by law enforcement can get you out of a lot. Could even keep you from a lot, or can even sway that you know sovereign person, right, from anything, right? But again, the people that are being I wouldn't say targeted. I mean, I don't know. That's I'm not saying they're being targeted, but I'm not also saying they're not. I don't know. I'm just from the outside looking in. These people don't have education, right? And it's tough for them to know or to understand that they can say X, Y, and Z and protect themselves, right? So, but it's tough. I mean, these people are coming in. I see videos of these unmarked cars left and right, and people just coming in by force, taking people and taking them to these facilities. I don't know what's going on, but there's money to be made. I do know that much.
Yeah, for sure. Well, in fear, there's always money. They run hand in hand a lot of times. But yeah, it's interesting to see to watch all of these things play out in real time. I mean, it's especially, and this, as being former military and being, especially a grunt, like it's not hard to see the writing on the wall right now, between the ICE raids and the No King protests and half of the politicians pushing for us to join the war, or the potential of war, the conflict between Iran and Israel. And then the other half saying no, and then half of the country saying, no, we're not going to another war. And then, the other half just mindlessly going along. I mean, do I think we should be in war? I don't know. No, I mean, I don't think we should. I think we should avoid wars as much as possible, especially as someone who's seen it. It's these guys making all the decisions that have never stepped foot on a fucking battlefield. They're the ones that are like, yeah, no, that's exactly what we should be doing. Well, I mean, it makes a lot of money for the weapons industry, the defense market. Like, I get it, but man, I mean, we just came out of two wars, where there's shit all over the place, and now not only are we dealing with possibly going to war in the Middle East again, but also, a looming civil war here at home. So it's a lot, bro. I mean,
We
I
gotta
don't watch
ask
the
the
news either.
questions, right? We gotta ask the questions why. Someone asked. I had a conversation, completely different topic, different situation. Um, I got pulled in and I was asked, "Hey, please help in many many different ways," right? By then, I was already jaded. This leader or in a leadership position, right? Had already did what they did, and there was no support. There was nothing there. So, now you're asking for help. Now you're asking for help. When I've been there 100, I've been there 100. All I said was, if you were to ask me to jump, I would ask you why, and then tell you no, because you left me hanging already. So, in this situation, it's tough. Like, why? I personally been overseas, and I seen these folks, I seen these people, and why? Why? So it's important to ask questions, and the media is always going to have a narrative. They're all doing their thing. Um, it's a whole money grab situation. I mean, it is, and it's unfortunate, right? But that's just it. This is the hand, and this is the card we were dealt, and we just got to figure out how to be wise enough to educate ourselves and to navigate through it the right way, right? So when I say it's all about money, I don't mean it like don't care about people, don't care about others. Um, what I'm saying is that's the reality, and it's either on us to give away money, support, and our energy to the right place or the wrong place, and that's everyone's right, everyone's opportunity to have a choice, and I hope everyone makes the right choice. I'm not here for one thing or the other, but those are the realities. I mean, why? So, and once you get to why, then you understand what you're gonna do, on a personal level, right? You can either get involved, stay hands off, just watch, learn. There's a lot of us that say, hey, yeah, it's not my problem, but really, when you get down into granular level, it's everybody's problem, right? It affects everybody. To some way, shape, or form. It affects everybody. So it might not directly impact you in a sense where it's around your community, your area, your state, whatever. But those taxes run deep. They run deep.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Yeah. That's a lot, right? Because I mean, certainly we should all make our own choices, our own decisions. But when you have a small concerted effort at the top with more power than the rest of us making decisions that affect our lives, it's hard to stay focused for a lot of people. Like you and I, we're kind of fortunate in that area of life where we just don't have to pay attention to it, you know. Um, and if it happens, it happens. I mean, we've already seen the worst of wars, so like, what else really is there, you know? And so when we talk about war with the average person, it becomes, an imagination journey, right? Because they're only going off their imagination. They don't really know all the things that move behind the scenes like we do. It's a movie, bro. You automatically show up and you're in helicopters, you fight, and then you go home, and then the credits roll, right? That's just not how it is in the real world. And so, it's just an interesting time to be alive right now. That's for sure.
Yes, there's so much that has happened, and what's to come, right? When you start really digging deep and you start putting yourself positioning yourself in a situation where, okay, what's to come 12, 24, 36 months from now, right? How can this affect me down the road? And make a concerted effort to live that way, to constantly live that way. And it's not, you don't have to worry. You got a faith, you're a believer, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. as far as like here in this physical realm, what we're dealing with every day, again, to your point, these people that make these decisions, and then there's this ripple effect that just goes, man, far and wide. Um, and again, it's understanding how is this decision going to affect this and this and this, right? And again, it all comes down to money. Uh, Talking about the defense contractors and what do they call it? The military industrial complex.
Yep.
Had our last episode, I was raving about this facility I was at, right? And I felt like I was in Iron Man's warehouse, just looking at all this crazy high tech gadget that's run by AI, and I was there chilling, walking it, hanging out, and guess what? They're like getting fed money, by us, our tech, because it's their time, and a company like that is just waiting for that call, just waiting for that call so that we can go hit up. Is it Tehran or
Yeah.
what's?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's Iran for sure.
Iran. Yeah, see, and so it's difficult because we're all in places and we all do things, and even if we don't think about it, we're all some way, shape, or form feeding into it.
Yeah. Whoa. Fuck, man.
We we are,
We're all feeding into it. Yeah. Yeah. We're all, it's a system that's built so big and so deep that how do you get out of it? And I mean, do most people even want to get out of it, bro? Like that's now we're gonna start getting into like deeper level questions, but like the majority doesn't want to. Like that's the whole point of the system. Like its whole job is to keep itself alive. It never wants to kill itself, right? And so to convince enough people to go against the system is to basically say, hey, everybody, let's effectively kill ourselves.
Well, um, we talk, you and I talk a lot, but the law of attraction is detachment, right? So if we want love and prosperity and positivity, it's not that we don't care what's going on out there, and it's not that we don't care about people, but if you don't give it any energy, it'll slowly die. Now imagine if we could do that on a collective front. And again, to your point,
Yeah,
that's difficult, right? But you can do that on the way you carry yourself. I can do that the way I carry myself and live, right? So we can't just talk about it. We got to be about it, right? And,
for sure.
sounds cheesy and you might hear things like that, especially come from freaking military folks, grunts. Um, but hey, there's two sides of the spectrum, right? And just because we did this and we live this, that doesn't mean that's who we are. We have a choice, and we can cross over there and now be that as well, right? So we got to do what we can so that we could directly impact our ecosystem. And you know, um, it does get there. And going back to like social media, imagine spreading that word out. Just you being you, spreading love and happiness. You don't have to talk about it, but just you, being joyful, enjoying every day, every breath we take. That energy is real. So that's how we make an impact. That's how we stop feeding this big machine. And even if we can't stop it, we can directly impact, like I said, our ecosystem, and we can do our own thing and have our own little universe and enjoy what we're doing and make an impact locally, currency, social impact. Um, but you got to be it.
Definitely. And that brings up a good point, man. It's like you got to disconnect. You got to disconnect sometimes. Um, I went out, I woke up. So today was the first day of the kids' summer break, and I woke them up at 5 o'clock this morning. We all went out to camp.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm a great fucking father, bro. That's why. And so this camp is like way out in the middle of nowhere. It's right on the lake. And it was just it was beautiful. We did my daughter laid out, the dogs laid out on the deck. Like I put the dock in, it was good to get out there, but to be disconnected from phones and tablets and devices, just to get away from the electronics for a little bit and reconnect. I actually sat down on a big granite rock and meditated for a little while, did some breathing exercises, and just it felt amazing, to be there. So like you
Same.
were saying, to your point, the energy that you feed, and the where you place your attention is where your energy will go, you know?
Absolutely, and I love that you did that. Absolutely. So, and people, not to get into the woohoo too much, but I do some things I would call like digital detoxing. I, I I get lost as well, just like you said right now, Jesse. It's important because you know, just your attention, right? Your attention span and where it's going. And even on a deeper level, like on a real physical level, right? What those radio frequencies are doing to your body itself. So um take half a day, take quarter of the day, digitally detox. I bet there's people there that are like, it's like your wallet, your phone's not there. It's like you lost a little piece of you. Give yourself the magic number. Give yourself 7, 10 times, 7 to 14 days, to like really practice that 5 minutes at a time, 20 minutes at a time, not just before you go to bed, but digital detox is real. It's necessary. And you're going to see, like, you know, you're missing out on a lot. Even
Yeah,
though you think you're missing out on a lot, but not being here, you're missing out on a lot, but not being here.
definitely, man. Presence is so fucking important, and this it all ties back to the beginning, like everything chasing for your attention. Your device is trying to grab your attention and hack it as best as they can. And so when you put them away, you get rid of them, like you cut off that bloodline. And so it's no longer even able to get to your attention. And now, oh shit, I have this attention and I can focus on my children. I can focus on my partner. I can focus on the dishes I haven't done for 3 fucking days because I've been scrolling TikTok. You know what I mean? Like you can really start to see um, how much it will take from you if you allow it to, for sure.
Absolutely. So, you know, um, it's critical and it's important, right? So, you know, um, you can see how social media can be beneficial or detrimental, right? It's again, it's your choice. How you're willing to utilize it, what you're willing to do with it. Um, we're here just, we're not here to tell you what to do or how to do it. We're just here to let you know how we live our life, how the experiences we're going through, and providing a platform where maybe we jive with you, maybe we don't. But for the ones that we do, I hope you're getting something out of it because I know I do. Anytime I'm here and I'm talking to my boy Jesse, I'm learning something new, something that I may not have forgotten about. It's coming back to light. Sometimes it's an idea that I had already let go, and he'll say things, he'll put things in perspective, he'll mention something, and it's just like boom, rock and roll, let's do it. And I hope that happens to our viewers out there, to some of our viewers, that you guys are getting something out of it because ultimately it's how you utilize your platform, how to utilize the tools, and we're here to bring positivity, success, talk about success, mental, emotional, spiritual well-being, and how to like balance it all out. We all got some problems, we all got some issues, but you know, today's episode was like, hey, let's monetize. Let's talk about how we can monetize on social media. And you know, um, maybe there's something that you guys could put together for us. Maybe there's something that you guys can introduce us to. There's a lot of successful entrepreneurs out there in the marketing world and social media world that can provide a ton of value. So, again, reach out to the full kit, no plan email that will be put up here towards the end of the podcast today. But we just want to provide that platform, give that exposure. So if you got a message, come on board. We welcome you guys, whoever it is, whatever it is, but come on board, create that exposure. This is a tool.
Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate you saying that because I feel the same way. There's a lot that you say and a lot that you share that I'm like, oh damn, bro, yeah, like that's exactly how I need to do it or where I need to go or how I can, maybe view something from a different perspective. So I really do appreciate you saying that. Um, yeah, and I mean, you said it, sharing is caring, right, bro? Like we all have something, and the more that we can share with each other to uplift each other in this community, the better off we're all gonna be.
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely. So, it was interesting. Out here being in just to go back to what we were touching on about the ice raids and the current events, right? Um, Out here in Phoenix, I talked to a lot of Hispanics. Don't know if you guys know, but I've created a grassroots movement that I've coined Mano Mano, Hands of the Valley here in the Phoenix region. Um, And what I do is I empower small business owners. My focus is on Hispanic business owners, but ultimately it's minority in its entirety, right? To so it doesn't matter, race, culture, or any of that. It's just the minority when I mean to small business owners, entrepreneurs are trying to make it, right? So, coming together as a community, galvanizing, leaning on one another for expert advice, help each other understand how to get out of situations, how to navigate the legal situations, potential legal situations, how to stay away from legal situations when it comes to business, how to get your books in order, how to make sure that Uncle Sam's get taken care of. So that being said, I get the pulse, that a lot of people are not coming out to work. I was talking to one of my community members today. They reached out to me, and they're putting up together, or they have an event. He's a taco guy, and um he was concerned that he couldn't get his people, his normal people, to come out, because they don't have papers, he said. And I'm like, oh man, so that affects him directly, because now he's looking to lose margin, right? And it's just one of those things, right? So he's being creative, and he's sourcing other ways to find that support, right? But that's why tacos are expensive now. I was complaining to him. I was like, I remember when they were a fucking dollar, bro. Now you want to sell them to me for $4, $5? What the heck? But it's because, I guess they come with papers, and the paper is expensive.
Yep, for sure, for sure.
It's a real thing, people are some people, that fit that are in that category. Unfortunately, they're taking a step back. They're not coming out, and it again, even if you think you're not gonna be affected, like I just know my tacos are gonna be expensive for next I don't know how long. So, and that's just what's gonna happen. I'm not trying to make light of it, but it's the reality. It's the best way for me to explain it. Um, it really is affecting people.
Definitely, man. It goes to show that one, we're all in this together, man. We're all just walking each other home. And two, you never ever really know what anyone else is going through, So just be fucking kind. Like be kind to one another, help out when you can, laugh as much as you can, and just be fucking nice to people, man. We're all going through shit.
Absolutely. I mean, 100. You don't know the impact you can make with a smile. You
Yeah.
don't know what you can do just by a wave.
And here's the
It's
thing, you might never know. You might actually never know what it was that you actually did for that one person at that one gas station that changed their fucking life. And that's the beauty of it, man. Like that really is one of the most beautiful things in the world is you'll never know. Some of the greatest things, some of the biggest, come-ins that you did, like boom, like you just helped this whole person out with everything that's going on in their life forever. And you'll never even know. That's a huge possibility. And for me, like that's one of the things I think about all the time, like with every action is you never know who's watching, who's impacted by it, who it directly affected, who went home and changed their whole lives because they saw something that you were doing and it was just you that was just being you. So I mean, when you think of it like that, man, how could you not? How could you not want to be fucking kind to every person that comes your way? Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Yesterday I had a conversation. Um, I initially, would say when I first mentioned him, I had a conversation with a friend yesterday, and I mentioned him as a boy. But the reality is a young man, and I was at the gym, and I go into the steam room, and it just wasn't on, and I was gonna leave, but he made a comment like, "Oh, it's been off for like 10 minutes, so it should be coming on." He's like, "Plus, um, you're still gonna feel good in here, like better than being outside." And I said, "That's right. I enjoy the steam room, and it's one of my favorite things to do in the gym." And I almost walked away because it wasn't the perfect condition.
Yeah.
But this young man, convinced me just by willing to talk to me. And for those that don't know, I'm pretty much covered in tattoos, like up and down. And there's a big tattoo that I have on me that scares a lot of people away. But this young man didn't, and I walked back in, I sat down, and we just started talking. And come to find out, he's a young kid. He's going into his high school, into his senior year of high school, and
Nice.
he was getting ready to. I say he was a young kid, but this young kid, I had to look up to him. I mean, he was a tall man.
Big boy, huh? Big
Yeah, and
pump boy. Yeah.
he was there. He was just taking a little break, and he started telling me and sharing with me, and we had a great conversation. He even mentioned, he has 2 jobs, and he told me where he worked at, and I was just really impressed by his dedication and his just focus. So we had a great conversation while we were in there, and he mentioned that he was thinking maybe going to the Naval Academy. So I was talking to him. I was like, I don't know nothing about the Navy because they just hang out and chill out, but you know. If you're gonna do something that I heard great things, sister branch, so it was nice, and it came from somebody just being willing to like speak up. He could have not said nothing.
Yeah.
That was the impact that I got. I was like, he's a young man, and it made me feel good to know that this young man has a good family behind him. We didn't talk about his family, but I mean, you can just tell. And even if he doesn't have a good family, he's a great young man. He's focused. He was asking really good questions, so he's someone that is gonna be out there, right? And I told him just no matter what. He asked me for some advice, and I said no matter what, because he mentioned after this, it's going to be tough and I'm going to go into the real world. He said that twice. And, there's a lot underneath, right? And for a 10-minute conversation, there was not much to really dig in, right? Um, but he mentioned that twice. And I said, look, I'll tell you this. The way you're now, don't ever change that. Stay focused. Don't get distracted. And you just be you. The same way you greeted me today, the same way you opened up to me today, be that person. No matter what ups and downs, just be that person and you're gonna be okay. Everything else is gonna repel. And he's like, man, that's so true. I appreciate that. And he was really appreciative, but I was more appreciative just having that conversation with this young man. So it felt good to know that, we make those and we come across in each other's life, in that sense. And even those kind of conversations, for me, it gives me hope. For him, I hope, he got something positive. And it was just amazing. It was a great conversation with a kid in high school.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome, man. And that, that's good. That's good advice for all of us. Just be yourself, and the rest will work itself out.
So
And with
don't.
that, we will see y'all next week. What do you think, Aldo?
Amen to that. Appreciate everybody. Stay tuned. Don't forget, hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back for more. And you know what, Jesse, we might be bringing in another guest next time. So
Oh,
stay tuned.
outstanding, outstanding! I can't wait. We'll see you guys next week.